Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, 20 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. When I was a kid, Robin, I was a fan of the Beverly Hillbillies. And I was a fan of Petticoat Junction. Oh, and I remember there was an episode when I think it was Uncle Jed went to Petticoat Junction. I was like, whoa, there's the guy from that show in this show.
Yeah.
They mixed them up. And I guess it's like right now, I guess there's a discussion, or maybe there's a movie out already, I don't even know, where Batman and Superman are together.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of weird, right? We see that kind of thing.
Yep.
Our next guest is a very, very accomplished, very, very adored author, J.A. Jance. I know we've got some fans listening right now. Her 51st novel is called Dance of the Bones, and in this novel, those who followed her will recognize two characters from her other books, and this is not just a whodunit. This is a kind of a who didn't do it. This guy didn't do it. It's an interesting twist on everything. And I guess when you've got 51 novels under your belt, you know how to twist a story and make sure that the listener is entertained. J.A. Jance is a New York Times bestselling author. The new book again, Dance of the Bones. Good morning, J.A. Thank you for being on the air with us this morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. And nobody else has referred to it as a who didn't do it, but you're absolutely right. In 30 years earlier, or, well, more than that now, Big Bad John Lasseter was arrested and sent to prison for murdering his friend Amos Warren. The arresting officer was a guy named Brandon Walker, who later became sheriff of Pima County. Now Brandon is retired and working for a cold case squad when Big Bad John is offered a plea bargain. All he has to do is to accept a plea of second degree, and he'll be out on time served. He refuses the plea and instead goes back to the guy who arrested him and asks him to find out who really did it, because he's not going to plead guilty to something he didn't do. In investigating that case, in reopening and reinvestigating that case, Brandon Walker finds links to another long cold case from the Seattle area, and that puts him in touch with J.P. Beaumont, who is the detective in my long-running Beaumont series.
Right.
And the point of bringing two of them together is, of course, to bring readers of one series over to read the books in the other series. And when my editor asked me, could I do this? I said, sure, no problem. I've done it before with Bo and Joanna Brady. Why couldn't I do it? Well, everything was fine until I started writing the book. What I discovered is evidently when Bo was growing up in Seattle in the 40s, they didn't have kindergarten because he never learned how to play well with others. So I'd be trying to write a Brandon Walker scene, and Bo would walk in and say, tell my story first. Me. And the only way to get him to sit down and shut up was to write his part of the story first. So I took that part of the story that was becoming a roadblock in Dance of the Bones and put that into a separate novella called Stand Down. Sorry. And so that is available both as an original, as a mass market paperback, and in ebook formats.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that part of this whole story. And does the story go back in time to another novel that you wrote all those years ago, or is the timeline something you made up just for this book?
No. The timelines in the Walker books are all elastic. They go back and forth from book to book, from characters to characters. In the first Walker book, Hour of the Hunter, you meet an old Indian woman, understanding woman, who is raising her granddaughter, Dancing Quail. In this book, you meet Gabe Ortiz, who is Understanding Woman's great-great-great-great-grandson. And so, yes, all of those people are interrelated. If people come into this series at book 5, they're going to say, oh, there are so many people. I don't know any of them. I don't know anything about any of these people. But they have to give themselves time and be patient. When I went to the reservation as a K-12 librarian in 1968, I knew nothing about Indians. I knew nothing about life on the reservation. And gradually those people took me in. My friends, Melissa One, Loretta Ramon, Rita Pablo, and Pauline Hendricks made me part of their circle. They taught me the lore, they taught me the legends, and in writing the Walker books, I want to bring my readership into that same welcoming circle.
Well, you have certainly done that, I believe, and also you have a spellbinding character in Ava.
Oh, isn't she wicked?
Yes, very much so.
It's amazing. It's wicked. I mean, it's amazing that you think she's wicked. You're the one who created her.
Well, I write murder mysteries, and so some people have to be bad. If all the people were good people, then
that's a good point.
Any story.
That's a good point. Yeah. So you have to make a wicked person. Do you draw on anything to make any of the characters, not just the bad ones, but I mean, do you draw on? I mean, you've created so much, so you might even be drawing from other creations. Does that happen?
Not that I know of. My mother, Evie Busk, was a piece of work. And if people have read my Joanna Brady books and have encountered Joanna Brady's mother, Eleanor Lathrop Winfield, then they have met my mother. My mother's older sister, my Aunt Alice, asked me once, well, doesn't Evie mind the way you portray her in the books? Actually, she did not. She told me once, I really like that Eleanor Lathrop.
Oh, wow. Wow. Isn't that pretty?
I did her justice. I spent 18 years of my life with a man who died of chronic alcoholism at age 42, a year and a half after I divorced him. When I started writing Beaumont in 1982, he couldn't be at work all the time. So when he was at home, he did the kind of drinking I had been accustomed to living with all those years. And then about book 4, people started worrying about him, and they told me, he drinks every day, he has a drink of choice. It's starting to interfere with his work. Does J.P. Beaumont have a problem? And I was amazed to discover that I had unconsciously written that part of my own life into.
Oh, that's amazing.
It happened somewhere away from my conscious level. And yet, when it was pointed out to me, I said, well, of course he has a problem. Alcoholism is a disease of denial. Mm-hmm. And that's how Bo ended up getting sober in book number.
Oh, wow. That is a cool story.
You also bring in family values through Brandon.
Well, Brandon is a good guy. Beaumont is a good guy. Joanna Brady is a good guy. Joanna Brady's best friend is her minister, Marianne McEllier. But Marianne McEllier and her husband, Jeff Daniels, are my honoring two people. Bishop Marianne McEllier, she's a bishop in the United Methodist Church in California, and her husband, Jeff, who took me in as a stranger during a very tough time in my life in the mid-'70s.
Wow.
And so those people, too, grew out of real people.
J.A., if you ever get a chance to be on with us for a longer period of time, we would love to have you back. I have a copy of the book. Call me. It's Dance of the Bones. I'll give away the one copy that was sent to us. The rest of us have to go buy it. JAJance.com is the website I have. I'm guessing it's available at all wherever books are sold. Am I right?
You are absolutely right, and I answer my own email. If they write to me at my website, they will get an answer back from me.
Okay. J.A. Jance, thank you so much. We will be right back.
The foreign minister says it plans to build an anti-migrant fence on the border with Romania. The one with Serbia is nearly completed. Refugees
moving up and down this 110-mile-long fence. It's 13 feet high, topped with razor wire, and they're looking for parts of the fence that they can actually gain access over. A while ago, they were simply sitting there.
Colin